Hello, it's Brendan Wessinger again, and here I'm going to talk about climate policies for transportation. Let's get started. Oh, I have a co-host joining me here today, named Pixie. Say hello, Pixie. Yeah, this is Pixie. Pixie the kitty. Anyways, let's get started. Okay. So let's get started with So I have a bunch of pictures here. An EV, electric bus, metro, high-speed rail, um, electric freight rail, which apparently that picture is very, may I say, crappy, and then bicycles. So, here we go. All personal vehicles and trains and that type of thing, ATVs, that sort of thing, must be electric. All aviation must be powered by hydrogen, biofuels, or renewable natural gas. Aviation could, or ATVs could probably also be powered by renewable natural gas. Aviation must be hydrogen or biofuel power or renewable natural gas or offset. Particularly if it's biofuels, it must be also offset because biofuels aren't actually carbon neutral unless they're offset anyways, and it also helps reduce some of the emissions caused by, taking away forests and stuff to grow biofuels. All shipping must be powered by hydrogen, biomass, renewable natural gas, renewables, nuclear, or battery powered. All motorcycles and military vehicles must run on biofuels or hydrogen. All long-distance transport must be powered by biofuels, electricity, like catenaries. There are some places in the world where there are long-distance transport is powered by catenary electricity or renewable natural gas. Public transport, bike lanes, or walking paths must be increased. We do have the technology, except with the exception of aviation and the economics to do all of these. Unfortunately, only one of them are we're close on, and that is public transport. Globally, in 2017, only 1.7% of personal vehicles were electric. In Norway, though, they are 58% of new sales, I think, and they are somewhere in the 50s, and they are 31% of vehicles on the road. So we can get there. So here's some figures for electric vehicles. People say that electric vehicles, there's a lot of myths out there about electric cars. So the average gasoline car costs $36,000 new and $20,000 used. The average electric car costs $55,600 new. So it's substantially more new. But used it's around $20,000. They're both around the same used. So mileage, electric car goes 100 or 370 miles, but forget that 100 because most vehicles out there that are being sold go over that. Nissan Leaf, probably the most popular model, which is 24,000 to 31,000 new, which is lower than the average gasoline car, costs 226 goes 226 miles. A Chevy Bolt, which is 36,620, about the same amount as an average gasoline car, goes 259 miles. So both of them go over 100. Both of them go over 200 miles, substantially over 200 miles. A Tesla Model S, which is $74,000, goes 373 miles. So yeah, recharging time. They have most of them have a turbocharge function. They can charge a certain amount, like 20% in 15 minutes or something like that, or 30% in 15 minutes. But they take a couple hours to recharge. They're partly meant to charge overnight. So most of them have it's that type of turbocharge function. I'm not sure how much that recharges in what amount of time, but it's about 15 minutes, and I'm not exactly sure how many charges in that much time. Fuel economy, electric vehicles win hands down. Gasoline costs $9.58 to drive 100 miles of highway driving. Not even city, it's much more. It's $13. But electric vehicle costs $4.08 to drive 100 miles. Also, electric cars. People say electric cars your electricity comes from coal. And that's not always true. First off, that's not always true. Your electricity comes from coal. Where I live, fortunately, there's not enough chargers and stuff like that. But there is way more. But our energy comes from completely renewable or alternative sources. Now, you go west in the state, in Pennsylvania, and then you run into coal and stuff like that. What was I going to say? But the other thing is they're more efficient than gasoline cars. They're more efficient. Substantially more efficient. So, top speed. Their highway speeds. 81 to 155 miles per hour, just like a gasoline car. So, first policy, number 1. Electric vehicle sales mandate. Require a certain percentage, or at least a certain number of new electric vehicles be sold by a certain date. Countries that are places that are implementing this policy: British Columbia, California, France, Norway, China. Yes, China is. Sorry, allergies are really bad today. Apparently, it's some type of pollen I'm allergic to. So, normally a car's lifespan is 11 years, so this target needs to be 11 years before a net zero date, so that 100% of new sales are renewable. So that would make it, to be on target for 1.5 degrees, that would make it, the date have to be 2029. Reason why this is so important is because otherwise we'll be I can't think today. Otherwise, we will be having to take people's cars away. And that's not a good option. This way, you just end up buying an electric car. You're not forced to. You just simply have to, because you're not forced to, or you be fined or whatever. You just simply have to, because of the fact that there's there's no other options. So, number 2, fuel economy standards. Creating better fuel economy standards that can slow the climate crisis down. So, fuel economy state regulations requires vehicles of a certain fuel efficiency. U.S. standards are called CAF, which apparently Auto did something with the E to make it look like it's in Spanish or French or something like that. Whatever, I hyphened it. Is that the word? I don't know. I don't remember putting in a hyphen E in there. So, okay. There are different from California's fuel standards. U.S. standards, which are called CAF, corporate something, are different from California's fuel standards. Apparently, Auto ED'd Trump too. This is bothering me. Trump has repeatedly been making the U.S. fuel economy standards weaker and weaker. and even tried to undo California standards. So if you see here on the right here, this is the bottom of fuel administration's heated the fuel economy standards. She raised them by a significant amount. So the fleet-wide average will be 54.5 miles per gallon in the year 2025 if Trump didn't get in there and deregulate them. If he didn't do that, so if that would have been happened, consumers would have saved $1.7 trillion, and yeah, you save $8,200 when you purchase a new vehicle. In fuel costs, and over the life of the program, Standards will save 12 billion barrels of oil, eliminate billion metric tons of carbon, 6 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide pollution. And remember, that also has numerous health benefits as well. So let's move on. Oh, missed the thing. 3. Electric trains mandate, requiring 100% of electric trains to be 100% electric by a certain date. Like cars, historical vehicles may be implemented. So, like steam trains. European and Asian trains and tracks are completely electric. So, just to make it clear, this is a picture of an electric freight train here. Something that in the US we seem what? Because we have diesel electric. I'm not talking about diesel electric. I'm just talking about straight electric. Europe and Asia's trains are mostly completely electric. So, this does exist. And it's incredibly common in the world. So, they have switching stuff and things like that that aren't electric. That's sort of a hassle to put a bunch of lines over bunch of electric lines over your many areas in your what do you call it, yards. But electric vehicle chargers, and number 4, electric vehicle charger grants and loans. Giving grants and loans to homeowners, businesses, in particular, motels, hotels, interstate rest areas, gas stations, and apparently amusement parks. There aren't enough electric vehicles chargers in the U.S. to make going around the country in electric vehicle relatively easily. There aren't isn't very much programs for electric vehicle chargers to be implemented and are to spread across the country at the moment. Requiring new businesses, and so we need to do that. We can use that National Climate Bank to do that. We can use the U.S. Department of Energy to do that. The U.S. Department of Transportation. Requiring new businesses and houses to have these would also be a step in the right direction. Some of these countries and states are already doing this. Apparently, I put an S on the end of that. I shouldn't have done that. Whoops. So, yeah. Let's put some electric chargers out there. So, electric vehicle grants and loans. Giving low-interest loans and grants to new electric vehicles. This includes people, especially with low incomes and small businesses. There is already a tax credit which should be expanded and extended. Also policies. So, number 5, electric vehicle grants and loans. So, giving low-interest loans and grants for new electric vehicles. This includes people, and especially with low incomes and small businesses. There is already a tax credit which should be expanded and extended. Also, policies to incentivize electric vehicles should also be put in place, allowing access to bus and high vehicle occupancy lanes, exemption from tolls, exemption from taxes, free parking, etc. That should be good. Number 6, clean cars for clunkers. I think I might have that backwards. There was a program from the 2009 American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which basically said, okay, this old car down here is an exaggeration, but you give your old clunker to, and they will give you an electric car. A program where people trade in their old vehicles for electric cars is basically what it is, and is what's implemented again. So, number 7, expand public transit. Public transit lowers emissions because not as much energy is being used to transport people. There also is enough resources on the planet for a car for all 7 billion people in addition to everything else. So expanding bus, metro, monorails, light rail, rail, and others. Trolley buses, which I don't know why they exist, but okay. And all this other stuff, all those other type of public transit. So that would be a good idea. And you hear, I think this is a Washington, D.C. metro. So, number 8, build high-speed rail. Provide an environmental alternative to air travel. Also provide another form of public transit, or public transport. Europe and Asia already have these systems. Why doesn't the U.S.? Projects in the U.S. are planned and starting to be implemented, but they've seen headaches and mainly cost and that sort of thing. So, eminent domain as well. So, number 9. I can't do 9 fingers correctly. Research and implementation for aviation and shipping. Aviation has no known methods of car decarbonization, sadly. It's highly carbon intensive. You go on an airline and it's more than a short flight, and it's more than the emissions from someone in a year in some different countries, certain countries. The closest are biofuels which compete for other resources. Offsetting, that's just outdone by our destruction of forests and other areas. Offsetting reduces emissions that don't take into account, or offsetting, first of all, is outdone by the destruction of forests that we do and other stuff like that. So our deforestation and stuff outdoes it. And second, well, sometimes when you offset, they say, well, we'll put money towards a renewable energy project in Africa, and I'm like, the emissions should have never been emitted in the first place. So you can't say do that, because they never should have emitted in the first place. You're just reducing emissions that are already emitted when they shouldn't have been emitted in the first place. So more research is needed to reduce emissions in aviation and implement those projects. So shipping, the closest thing we have to decarbonation is hydrogen and biofuels. Hydrogen seems to be promising with what it can do and everything like that. Also would help electric hookups in ports to have zero emissions when they're in port. Ferries can be electric. More research is needed in funding the implemented research project. Also, there are some types of short-haul aviation, like prop planes, can also be electric. So, but not long-haul jet flights, where most of our emissions come from. So, we can get there. We do have to do a lot of research, though. Number 10. Increasing walk and bikeability. Many roads are not built to ride bikes on or to walk on, and I ride bikes to a lot of different places. I ride my bicycle to a lot of different places, and I can understand that. I can see that. So this needs to be changed to reduce emissions and improve health and allow us to get by without using a bunch of resources. So that's adding bike lanes. This means adding sidewalks and pedestrian overpasses and that sort of thing. So that concludes them all. So to recap. Electric vehicle sales mandate. Fuel economy standards. Electric trains mandate. Electric vehicle charges, grants, and loans. Electric vehicle grants and loans. Clean cars for Clunkers, or Clunkers for Clean Cars program. Expand public transit. Build high-speed rail. Research and implementation for aviation and shipping. Increasing bike and walkability. Yes, I know my voice actually didn't crack. I intentionally did that. So those are the 10 policies. Thank you for listening to me, and see you next time.